Live from the Injured on the Go Just Call Mo studio.
It's a blast!
It's Orlando's own Tom and Dan.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Joe's here from Fairvilla MEGASTORE.
Hey!
And Joe brought a guest.
I did. I have been introducing you guys to some of my favorite people, but I realize that the world may not know the brilliance that actually lies behind the brand. And so today, I brought you the Mighty Mouse that runs the MEGASTORE. This is Alycia.
Yeah.
This is the
This is
store.
Miss MEGASTORE?
Miss MEGASTORE.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Right?
I've been wanting to. That's like talking to Ron John. Talking to the person that runs the MEGASTORE, dude.
Yes.
Hold on, is your first name John or Ron?
You know, a fun fact about Ron John, his first name was John and his last name was Ron. Did you know that?
No, I
So it
didn't.
should
I made that
actually be
up.
John Ron.
I made all of that up. I'm a
So
liar.
John Ron switched things on
Yeah.
us, and that's how he's been gone hidden this whole time.
So let's talk being a manager of Fairvilla. And of course,
Not
the
only
MEGASTORE.
a manager, but like that's
Yeah.
the
our flagship
store.
location.
Yeah, that's the one that like pretty much the buck stops with that store.
Oh, do you still take the Polaroids of the people
No.
that get caught
So we don't
shopping?
take them, but we
We
sure
have
do
them.
show them off. Yeah.
I show everybody I can because they're up on the ceiling in our DVD room.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are still there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You know what? This was one of the questions. I'm so glad you remembered that because we've asked about
Yes.
the Polaroids before, but I might be in those Polaroids because Bill Murphy snuck me in as a joke, and I'm holding a bunch of dildos like I stole them.
No, it's a look.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
took my picture and they put me up there and then they wrote the date of when the picture and everything.
Hey, if any of our listeners can come to the store and point that out, we will have some. We will have
Oh,
some sort
I'll
of
give you a prize. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
give you a
Come
prize.
find
Yeah.
Alycia and show her Dan's picture.
if you find me in there, we'll give you a prize. There you go.
Well,
awesome.
let's talk about the DVD room because now, 2025.
God bless the DVD room.
Are people still purchasing DVDs?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you
Very
question?
excitedly.
Do you question it at all? I know that's not your job as a manager of
No.
Fairvilla, but I would be like, have you heard of what's happening
They're
there?
streaming.
Honestly, with what's happening, it's brought more DVD people back
Really?
into our yeah, because it's hard to get onto Pornhub and stuff without having to show your ID. You don't have to show us your ID to buy a movie.
Well, now you can't even go on there at all. They just say that you can't.
They say show your ID, but that's not even a thing.
They just
you
canceled.
can't- you
They
just
took
can't-
themselves
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
So then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll show my ID.
You know, I had kind
I'll
of
show my ID to anybody. I show it to strangers all the time.
I had kind of wondered if like collectors or, and I do mean that in
Yes.
in a serious term of like
Yes.
because like you know there's some DVDs and stuff that are out there that are never going to make the rounds again. I think we can all agree that at least for right now, that golden age of cinema, adult cinema, where there were big, you know, like what do you call it? Like companies, like your Vivids and your whatever. That's the only one that's coming to mind right
You
now.
should
But
see the reels that we have. There's
Yeah.
like a museum in
Yeah.
Bill's office, right? We have the original reel of Deep Throat. Can I say
whoa,
that?
yeah, you can, yeah, you can say
We
that.
have the
sold
original-
our last copy of Deep Throat, and now it's so hard to find.
So you guys actually have a physical
we
copy?
had a physical. It recently
yeah.
sold.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We
I
have
bet-
the original reel of The Green Room,
Oh, wow.
right? We have the original reel of Insatiable, which was that was actually the one that turned our whole store around. That's how Bill Murphy was able to raise funds to buy Fairvilla, was by showing that movie at the theater.
Oh, wow. See, a lot of this stuff that I almost feel like is, a lot of it is like kind of, well, it is. It's history
It's
now.
very con though. Like people
Yeah.
who like Comic-Con, there's a whole porn con.
Yeah.
You know, like people do collect those things.
Do
and
they
we're honored
cosplay?
to-
Do you cosplay at a corn pond or porn con?
All- do they cosplay?
They cosplay.
Do
If
they-
you say, "Can you cosplay?" They're like, "Yeah."
Do they
Yeah.
dress up?
Cosplay.
What do you like? Look,
Yeah.
I'm dressed as I don't know. I'm trying to think of a male porn star from the day. I'm dressed as the dropping loads guy
That you would want to dress
I'm dropped as Nick Manning.
Because
dropping
the guys
loads.
of the day were not attractive. They were not. It was not their faces that got them on film.
Yeah,
I mean, have
true.
we, right? Can we all just, hey, Ron?
Yeah,
nice
very
to see you,
true. Ron
Jeremy, but
Jeremy.
blah, blah, blah.
John Holmes,
Oh.
not the most attractive
Yeah, not
men.
your traditional hottie.
I
Yeah.
feel like it was a time where less people were willing to do that because it was like way more faux pas, way more taboo.
It was.
And then all of a
Pickings
sudden,
were slim.
when
Yeah,
the
it's
internet
wide open now.
like when the internet came,
the
and then,
Audubon.
and then we're like, well, all these guys are doing it. All I'll do it too. You know,
Yeah. You're not wrong.
If he can do it.
When there was only like 5 in the 70s, everybody was like, well, I can't do that. Only these 5 ugly dudes can do it. And then when you saw in the early 2000s, you're like, oh, there's thousands. I'm doing it.
And one of the only handsome guys, and EJ threw it in there because he's a pervert, was Peter North.
Yeah.
He was one of the only guys
Classic.
that like classically look. And,
Yes.
and the other guy,
The other guy.
He's
The one
blonde.
other
I'm blanking on him, and he did some.
The Sven-looking dude.
He's very European,
Yeah.
but there's a couple of only and Randy West. Randy West came to the Monsters, and my favorite story about Randy West is he brought us signed pictures of himself, and it was him. Fully boned, full boner, with his hand on a mantle, just like looking at the camera, like, "Hi, how you doing?" Like, and he's pre-signed the photos, and he was just handing them out to all of us. Like, I knew you'd want that. I was like, oh, thank you, Randy. You knew I'd want a sign of you standing there in your birthday
And
suit.
that's why people assume that girls like
Yeah.
right there.
We can't say that,
Yeah,
Joe.
that one we can't say. That one we can't say, but that's okay.
By the way,
I sneezed.
I got you.
someone photoshopped my face on that picture, and I will start handing it out. So I'm gonna sign
You
it.
could find it online
Here
because
we
it was his promo shot. You could
Oh
find,
my
and this was
God.
later. Like, I met him in the early 2000s. Like, this is like not. He
I'm gonna
wasn't
go
still.
Google it. I'm
He
gonna
wasn't
go
still
Google
performing. I'll send it to you. I think I have it. I think I have it somewhere.
You know-
I need that suddenly. Yeah.
Alycia, I want to talk to you about just like customers in general, and because it was sex and anything to do with that topic is rarely discussed amongst friends. Let's say, like, for instance, I've known the same group of friends since I was in high school, my Miami friends, and
You ever wonder how they do it?
I do.
I think about all of your friends and you. I think about how
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and Crystal do it all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I wonder how they do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, because like it is funny because the only example I have of another like middle-aged dad and their sex life is Daniel, because we do talk about it on the show. Yeah.
Hold on, try that again. Put a blast on that.
Yeah. And so that's all I know of who else.
And you don't know what I do.
I
think I'm a
know
bit of a
what you
mystery.
do.
No, I think I'm
I
a
know
mystery
what you
because
do.
I think I talk.
You told me.
I think I talk the flames.
You tell
I
me
think
all the
I
time.
say crazy stuff.
I know a
but
sandwich will turn you off.
I think
you
if
told me.
people knew what I really do, they'd be like, "This little boring man. Look at this poor little boring man."
No, you've told me. I've taken little snippets throughout the 20
that's
years.
what they call me. That's my sex name is Little Snippets. Who wants a little snippet? You want a snippet?
That
So-
makes sense.
but
Who
then-
wants a snip?
But then I realized, like, one day talking to Crystal, because I'm like, this is the normal. And Crystal's like,
You
what are
say
you
that
talking
during sex?
Well,
You're like, this is the normal.
No.
I am now giving you the normal.
and because I only know what Daniel
Warp speed.
has told me, and nobody else. Like, I've never talked to any other of my guy friends about their sexual
The
relationship.
most perverted, you
or-
want to know? Out of all of them, most perverted? You ready? You ready for it? Most perverted. Ready? Are you ready for it? Wizard.
No.
Wizard's most perverted.
No. He's the spectrum blocks all that. There's like a robot.
Yeah. Too autistic to have fun.
But anyway, so then what
There is a pervy spectrum, though. There really
Yeah,
is.
there really is.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I
So
think mine
I don't-
lands more in the verbal aspect, not necessarily in the act aspect.
The execution.
Yeah,
Or-
you know what I mean?
You're
So-
a fantasy guy.
So
Sure.
that tells me that unless you do a podcast where you talk to your little buddy for hours and hours a day,
Now we're
and it
becoming
gets-
Gilligan's Island. Did you notice that?
Little
He's the
snippets.
captain, and I'm little buddy.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
one red hockey shirt away from being
so-
Gilligan.
And if you don't do that, and then your normal interactions with your guy friends, it never gets brought up. So you and probably
It
most
used
people.
to, though. It used to when you
I
were
don't
when
know.
I was in
my
college.
dad never. My dad
No,
never.
that
talked
was
to
a
his
gentleman's
friends.
thing. My dad would never talk about that either.
But in college, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is
Where
that,
does the concern lie? You need a resource to be able to talk to people about your sex life?
well,
He's not as
I'm just
open,
saying,
Joe.
no-
He's not as open as like you guys are. I feel like you're in the field, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are like, if
I
you're.
have to like monitor myself. I go to Disney and I'm like, oh, I can't say that. You watch what you're saying right now.
Yeah, because
Alicia,
you're like
'cause
buying.
Disney.
Yeah, you're just like buying a soda and you want to scream dildo in this lady's face.
Oh, you should see our marketing meetings at First Watch.
Yeah.
And also, you're shamed by your kinks, because you think that's weird. What I'm saying,
I don't even know his kinks, but I know they're weird.
we're not talking
Well,
about
this
it.
baseline is you.
Everybody's sitting in shame, right? You're sitting there talking with your guy friends. You're all weird, and it's a weird.
Because you know
Shame,
what turns you
that's
on.
sad.
You know
turkey
what turns
leg
you
likes
on is
feet.
it's disgusting.
Pudge, I don't even know.
Pudge likes anal.
You tie it purple.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, the point being is that no one knows because no one talks about it.
Yeah.
So then,
They talk about it. You're not picking up on the hints.
No. I'm saying you don't.
No, you
like,
can
who
you
talks-
can tell. You could see. Like for instance, I know that you like big mouths and big asses. Just
Well,
from
that's a
picking up.
standard.
No, that's not the standard.
You know-
He likes the women that have super large like bass mouth. He likes a big
No,
bass
no,
mouth.
okay.
You do like a big bass
No,
mouth.
there's something appealing to it. To be, it's not like a big
See?
bass.
So if I
mouth.
say Julia
Just
Roberts, you have a reaction?
No, just like the lady from MythBusters,
Oh.
or Julia Roberts,
Yeah.
or
Or that
Emma-
lady that was on
Emma
Ellen that
Stone.
has the unhingeable mega mouth. That lady.
No,
Oh my
that-
God, she
it
looks
gets
like-
too weird.
It's so big.
So there's a group of guys speaking in shame, hanging their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's most guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys.
and then
That's why Fairvilla's here to
I
help.
was gonna say that's so sad.
So then I feel like then we go in Fairvilla and we don't know what we like, and we're ashamed to even tell you.
Well, you know what you
Rex-
like, but
okay.
you don't necessarily want to blurt it out, right? It's like
Remember when Rex Ryan told everybody he liked feet?
he didn't tell everybody he liked feet.
Oh, yeah,
A
okay.
video got released of him like kind of doing a role play. I thought was his wife.
Yeah.
She had her feet out the window at like an Arby's or something, and he's like walking around the car like role playing. Hi, what are you doing, miss? Right?
Yeah, and then she had her feet stuck out of the window,
Yeah.
and then he's like,
And you can hear him
yeah.
heavy breathing because he's a big guy,
Yeah,
like
you
he's
like
not
the feet.
Yeah,
And
he's getting hot like a bulldog.
And who cares? Like out of
But
all
speaking
things.
of role playing though, like if a guy walks in hanging his head in shame and he secretly has a thing for feet, what would someone at the Orlando store have? What kind of conversation would you have to help a guy work his way into a level of comfort to be able to get the things he needs to support his stuff, right?
Well, the first thing I always like to tell people, I will never yuck anybody's yum. Whatever you like.
What if that's what I want?
Yeah, what if I want you to spit on my yum?
It's a great
I want
thing
you to
do.
spit on my yum and kick it real. And now I want you to stomp on my yum.
I say, I want the yuck.
Will you stomp my yuck?
I'm sorry.
But I love to personal shop with people. I'm like, that's
Okay.
fine. Come on, let's walk together. Let's figure out what we like.
There really is
together.
no
Like,
shame there.
What
and
if
I've
I'm
seen
afraid
this
to tell you?
firsthand. You shouldn't be though, because you should be afraid to tell me, but not her.
Yeah. Like, see, I would feel pressure by like, let's say we walk. I'm like, well, let's go upstairs. Like that's the good stuff.
If
Yeah.
you're like, hey, pardon me, where's the beehole room?
And then I'm walking
And we
with
have
you,
one of those.
and then I'm walking by a wall, and then she's like, oh, and you're like, do you see anything you like, sir?
Yeah,
And
you're
then
like,
I'm
can
like,
you put a hole in this wall? I'd like that.
no. And then I'm like, well, do you should I like this? See, that's
No,
what I'm
he
saying.
has to be told what to like.
Yeah. Like, is this good? I don't know. I feel like it's all good.
I think there's a difference between having a conversation with someone whose services are available and having a conversation with someone who could serve as a resource.
Right. This
So
is like
when
going
you-
to the library.
Right. I mean, so there's nobody that actually works on our sales floor that has had less than 25 hours of actual training in both products and how to have a conversation
Yeah.
and
The
how to make
safety
people
of said
feel
products.
comfortable and how to create a safe space for someone to be able to talk, but at the same token to not themselves as employees feel uncomfortable to be able to say, hey, sounds like you're into this. Here's a good resource for you.
Right.
Yeah. But they're all trained to be able to do that.
What
Point
is your
in that
number
direction.
one selling if you had to just pick a product at the Megastore? And since you've been there as long as you have, if you had to pick one product that was the true MVP, what would it be?
That's gonna be so hard because it's gonna be like categories for
Yeah, top three.
for dildos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
The Mega Man.
The Big Jim. The Big Jim.
There's a brand that I just
Yeah.
We know what the
Our top
side
seller
of the
this
spectrum
year
it
was
is.
Antonio Brown.
That's possible.
Yeah, he's out there. He's
But
He's
like-
wanted for murder.
There's like the Shaft, which is a liquid silicone dildo. So it's our top selling dildo every way. 'cause
What's it
it's
called?
The Shaft.
Hush your mouth.
That's
That's supposed to be talking about Shaft. That was the first album I ever got. Seriously, Isaac
I can
Hayes.
see the suit.
The theme from
Wash the
Shaft.
hair.
Who is a man
Oh, my
who would
goodness.
fight for the cause of a brother man?
Now,
It is.
for like what the standard middle-aged dad, the norm, like I used to the dilly dads, where like the normal boring
The old Bud Light Joe.
yeah. Bud Light Joe.
So Bud Light Joe walks in.
Yeah. What do you think they like, or does it run the spectrum of it? It could be mild to wild, anything. There's
Absolutely.
no
What
stereotype.
about age demographic? Do you find, maybe you can bust some myths for us.
Try.
Do you find that some of the, let's say more seasoned, to be polite, like, ladies and men in their 50s and 60s are crazier than the young folk? Does it skew any way at all? Is it all across the board? Or because I feel like the people that are a little more mature are a little more comfortable, and then they're in turn a little more free with what they would like to do.
You'd like to think so,
No?
but I feel like the next generation's growing up quite.
So they're
free.
doing well.
They're
doing well.
free, right? Do
But
you have an answer to that? What's your
I will
thought?
say, like, the older generation that's been in the game for a while, they're like, no, I'm okay. I got this. I know what I want.
Set in their ways,
This
yeah.
is what I like. And they're not really big on being like, hey, try this.
Right,
They're
right.
like, no, I know I like this.
Yeah.
So they don't really like to try the new things, where somebody like mid-30s is like, well, what do you suggest?
Okay.
And I want to broaden my spectrum.
Okay.
Give me
Now
all the things that fit in my purse.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Like tiny things are popular now too, right?
I mean,
Portable things.
Tiny things never stop.
app
being
control is really big right now. So
remote from the
Remote,
phone,
yeah.
the whole like the digital
draw pictures,
things.
play music.
Yeah, I've never dabbled in any of that, and it does sound fun. You would
So
think that I would be the guy to do that,
fun.
right? Mr. Technology.
yeah,
So
the app,
fun.
but I'd be in there all the time.
I can't stop myself. Yeah, my wife would be like, I'm going into a meeting. I'd be like, yes, you are. I'm about to blow you out of your seat.
You can't turn off access. But I want to tell you guys what we're doing this weekend.
Please.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
super fun. Okay.
Let's do it.
So it's the first time that we've ever done anything like this, and this is really exciting. It serves Orlando and I Drive, and we are actually talking about demographics. We are serving a new population, getting to the niche market of anime festivals.
Whoa.
So we are creating our very first mobile Fairvilla Ecchi Mart. And the entire thing is literally designed around a Japanese market. So the visuals are so fabulous. Felicio's become a fishmonger. He's exceptional. But they're taking over the Rosen, the AFO festival, and we are sponsoring the games. And we have 6 booths that are focused on all things. You talked about con,
Yeah.
on all things con. So we have bright, colorful, creature, weird, cute, cuddly, little, furry, fuzzy, fun, portable.
But
all
it's
of those
also
things.
sexual wellness themed.
It
No?
is
Yes?
all 18 plus, so we went a little less wellness, a little more fun.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
So a little less oils, a few more tentacles.
Yeah, we are not in the family friendly room.
Okay.
We're
Yes.
How big
Yeah.
is the anime community when it comes to that? It's gigantic.
huge. They are expecting over 3,000 people, I think, for this one.
Holy
They've taken
smokes.
over the Rosen, and if this one goes well, we have 4 others lined up before the end of the year.
So,
this is a large market.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but would you guys be the behind the curtain aspect of the con?
So does-
like if I were to use an analogy from me going in a video store as a
Yes,
young man,
yes.
you'd have all the videos I could rent, and then if I
Yes.
wanted to go spicier and was of age,
Yes.
I could go behind the curtain to see the spicy con stuff.
Yes.
This is an untapped thing no one's thought of. That's pretty
Yes.
clever.
We are so excited. We have literally
cool.
been building this. We're all hands on deck. So
That's cool.
So that's really fun. That's exciting. And then the other thing, of course, we're doing is we're throwing the pool party at Secrets. We're joining them on the 4th of July.
Nice.
So I thought Alycia, the Mighty Mouse of the Megastore, could tell us how we might be able to add some fireworks to the bedroom. What are some of your favorite ways to bring fireworks home?
I like conventional fireworks. I like to set a cake in there. And it gets a little smoky, but I pump right through it.
Let me tell you though, there's some fun accessories.
I can whip a couple snap pops.
Yeah. How's about the end? I throw them at the ceiling.
There's a gel that we have that feels like a jackhammer. Like it is so
Jackhammer
intense.
gel? Sign me up.
And that's the kind of stuff you want.
Yeah, I want some jackhammer gel.
I like to point people towards things they don't really know exist, like the pop rocks that are meant for oral.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is
Yeah.
a sensation that people don't always know they love.
And
so
use
you're
the
like,
ones
yeah.
that are meant for it, not the.
Yes.
You can't. You're not supposed to be.
They don't have
Standard
as hard
dollar
of a
store.
pop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
don't go there.
Yeah. You could get. You could
Yeah,
get an
you get
infection.
yucky. There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. That's why you shop for these things at Fairvilla,
Yeah, it's
not
why
the
you-
hardware store.
That's why the knowledge is important. You got to go ask Mighty Mouse about it and make sure that it works, or you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah,
man.
That's right.
So this is happening 4th of July at Secrets.
4th of July
Okay.
Are you
Secrets.
going?
AFO is this weekend at the Rosen.
I
Wanna
figure
make
you
sure
can take
come
your
by.
sons to the hentai anime.
It's the hentai games.
Hentai. You take your sons and get them a couple tentacles, and then swing by Secrets for for July 4th.
So let's talk about the Secrets 4th of July party
Sure.
because I have a different, like a family 4th of July
Yeah.
party. There was some of my
Aren't you?
friends.
You're going to
and the kids.
Miami this year.
No, we're going over to Satellite.
Oh, you're going to Satellite.
Yeah, the Wizard's house doing some, barbecue.
Do the same old.
Oh, God. So what's going to be happening at this 4th of July party?
So there's a takeover at Secrets, right? You know, we have a location in Kissimmee. So there's a takeover, which means that one of the lifestyle groups, you've met Jess and Jordan here before.
They were awesome.
Aren't they so
Yeah,
fun?
they're fun.
I love them so much. We're switching the way that we do things up there this year, but one of these things is Fairvilla is helping to sponsor the party for the 4th of July. So from 1 to 5, we're pinking out the pool. We've got a VIP tent. We want people to come by and grab swag. But I will tell you,
I'm going to slink out with my pink out.
I was there for the 4th of July last year, and it was on a weekday, and that place packs out.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for an adult space to have a good time, to get your willy wet, literally and
You
or
could be
figuratively,
tiny booty shorts, margarita, baby.
that's way more fun.
Yeah, you could be partying down.
I'm throwing the snap pops at it.
And the fun part is that everybody is welcome. Like legit, it is a fabulous place for people. You were talking about there's no shame.
No shame.
Yeah.
There's no shame.
Especially
So-
at Secrets. They've seen it all, man.
Oh
They-
man,
Yeah, they know what they're
We're
doing.
What if I
literally
want
the
you?
great people.
Well, that's a
They'll
different
provide that
conversation.
too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I came here to get my my yuck stomped.
My yummed.
Please stomp my yuck. Please.
My wife is making fun of me.
Well, they have a dungeon for that. Remember, they have a dungeon for that.
I
so-
never liked that. I never understood that part of it.
The dungeon?
No,
Oh, I
no.
do.
Where the wife makes fun of you while it's going on.
Oh, the
I was like,
humiliation and degrading.
Look at how fat and disgusting you are. Look at how small every
You know,
part
my
of your
God.
body.
some
I'm like,
people
don't do that.
don't do that. Don't. I'm not into it.
I don't want that part.
You're really
of it.
harsh on
Pay
my vibe.
a lot for a Dominique trick.
It's
so.
a lot. It's true. People
Sometimes
make a lot
they
of
get the
dough.
exact opposite. Sometimes when the dominatrix man or woman says to the submissive,
Dom or
right?
sub, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then they say, and then you get the exact opposite. You're like, look at how disgusting you are. And you're like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But
People-
Yeah,
I
no,
actually
they
saw
like
the
it.
most. This isn't bore you guys, but I saw the most beautiful video the other day, and it was a male dom, female sub, and she was into degradation and humiliation, and they had a whole session together, and she was bawling, sitting on the floor, and watching him love her back to reality after that moment,
No, it's
like
touching
bringing
me.
her
More
back.
touching than my daughter
It
graduated from
was,
college.
but it was so.
I got a tear ran down my cheek. I've seen a lot of things.
That
I was
makes me
there.
uncomfortable,
I was there
Joe.
as my father took his last breath.
I'm like-
I'll be there when my daughter graduates college, but I will never see anything more touching than a sub cradling that dom after she had stomped his yuck. She stomped his yuck so hard. And-
Slap Abby's crying or mascara. I'm like, oh.
Point is, there's
I
beauty
don't-
in all relationship people. There are no shame for all of y'all that are listening. And Tom's over here yucking your yum.
No, he's not. It's not for him. He doesn't.
I'm nervous. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, don't.
Your first time's got to be a little scary, I would imagine, a little bit.
I would
you know,
imagine.
if you don't know what you're doing, but they'll
That's
take
what's
care of
important
Are
about
we still talking about
you gotta
secrets?
conversate.
you gotta communicate. Secrets
Yeah.
will take care of you.
How many
Yeah.
old real men died without doing what they wanted?
Oh, all of them.
You're right.
Oh my
a
God.
generation, right?
mean,
Never, no feet,
millions
nothing.
of old men.
Nothing they ever really liked secretly.
Yeah.
They just like,
And the
last
last
don't tell
thought,
anybody that.
thought in their head as they place their cowboy hat on their table, and they lay back in bed, and they know they're going to take their last breath, and they take their last breath, and then he's like, I wonder what a foot would have felt on it. Yeah, I wonder what a foot would have
Always
felt on it. And he
wondered.
died. And he died.
Yeah. I wonder how many people think they like something and then it turns out they don't when
No,
they do
that's
it.
very real.
Yeah.
All right, what is that? Where you like fantasize about something, but then you actually do it in real life, and you're like, "Oh, I just like the fantasy of it."
That's very.
Yeah, it's very popular. I mean,
Yeah,
it'd be a
it's
fantasy.
common,
That's why
actually.
it's so important to conversate and talk before you do it.
Yeah.
Because you should always have a safe word. And you're like, oh, actually, it turns out I don't like that. Safe word, stop.
You know, I learned the hard way too. My safe word was "get me harder." Like, I was "get me." It was
said,
"get
"Stop."
me." Yeah, and I was like, "Get me!" And then, my yuck never recovered.
My yuck never recovered. And there's your soundbite.
So
I'm sorry, Tom.
Yeah, and then just like if you were gonna just throw out a most popular category that people would be surprised about, what
God, I
would
think we talked about it. It's got to be feet.
Wait,
It's got to be
like-
feet, right?
like what do you think?
No?
Like something
Bondage.
Nope.
What is it?
I think the thing that people don't realize exists a lot, but I sell a lot of it, is sounding.
What is
Oh,
that?
I know what that is. Hold on, we got to be careful on this one.
That's why I was like,
Oh,
really
God.
good
No,
answer.
that's the
sound effect.
That's not what I was gonna say, but that's a
Logic
good
Man has done
answer.
this. Isn't that where you use a rod and you?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's
A rod.
Yeah.
It's, like a dowsing rod. What's it called? Sounding.
Yeah, because when they do it, you're like, ah! I don't know. That's an old joke. That's like old Peter. That's like why'd Peter Pan fly? Yeah, if you hit my Peter with a pan, I'd fly too. It's like the first joke I learned in middle school.
Okay, so it's
And I was today years old.
it's sounding like the word sound.
Like the word sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's called that. I'm gonna
Interesting.
look that up. Hold on.
Okay.
Unless you know.
There's a
I'm
rod.
Googling
And then
why.
is it
Oh my God,
okay,
your
I don't
Google
can't
history.
even talk about it.
I would pay to purchase your Google history.
Okay, so that is more popular. So they get it like a sounding rod, and then
Yep.
they
and all the accoutrement.
Okay, all right,
And
interesting.
some loop.
Okay,
I was gonna
okay,
say
all right.
always.
Interesting.
Okay, I'll
the
give you I'm gonna give you the science on this.
Okay.
In medicine, a sound is a long, slender instrument that's used to probe or dilate body passages.
Oh God!
There you
okay,
go.
all right.
That's
So,
the answer.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Those
pass
are
out.
definitely the.
This isn't for me. You know, and I'm not yucking. I am not yucking. If you're into that,
Yeah,
God bless
no,
you. You're a
no.
tougher man than I am.
Well, now I'm curious.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing
Oh, I
with
get lightheaded.
with
Just
all
think
these,
about it.
these different kinks that people are like oh, that's that's weird or whatever. I'm always like, well, if they like it so much,
Yes.
it's got to be something good about it, right? Like I'm more curious about why you like it. Like it's like the people that eat like Rocky Mountain oysters and stuff.
Oh,
And,
yeah, like exotic, foods that happen to be genitals of lambs.
Oh
and-
yeah, or just oysters in general.
I love
Like, it's
oysters.
like,
That's
and-
a thing I love.
like because
And I've had I've had all of those. I've had all
Awful, the weird things, yeah.
tripe and all. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
eaten all that stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not for me.
tentacles or all the stuff. Like I'm like, why did they like it? I'm like, I'm a human. They're a human. It's got like
Yeah.
it's got maybe it's something I don't know.
What's wrong with your mouth?
Maybe I don't know, and I'm missing out.
That's interesting.
I feel
So
like I'm missing
sounding
out.
comes in really hot. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and it's funny because that is one that I think most guys, and I'm just generalizing here, which is not good, but I do think you would keep that a little closer to the vest because
Mm-hmm.
that sounds a little more adventurous. Sounds like if maybe your friends heard about that, they'd be like, well, what?
What about
but
like
it's no
dressing?
different than anything else, I guess.
Dressing up your wife like a different person, like put a wig.
Oh,
and
I
then,
think,
like
sure.
role play.
Yeah.
Things,
Yeah.
that's mild.
I think that's
right?
harder
Yeah,
for
apparel,
people, though.
yeah, apparel, and then you always. I mean, booty play is our number one selling.
But I think that's
all day,
harder.
all the
What
time.
you're referencing is something where requires a wig and costume. That's fine.
And
Right.
acting.
But then the acting is the
Yeah,
part that
yeah.
you're not. I think that's the hard part for people. Like I crush role play. You want role play? I can be the meanest detective, the nicest detective, a girl detective. What do you want? I can be anything you want.
But a lot of people find it awkward stepping out of their own shell, and that's the thing: is that getting comfortable in a space where you can be comfortable enough to play That's important with a partner. That's important where you get your
Yeah.
resources. It's important who you talk to and who your friends are, Tom.
Sure. You know what? I wouldn't make
What are
fun
my
of
friends
you.
like?
We
If you
need a
came
support
in-
group of middle-aged men full of shame.
If you came in, and I'm answering this honestly, if you came in and told me like privately, you're like, oh, Crystal, I tried some sounding, and you know what? That is wild. I would not make fun of you. I would not. I wouldn't say it on the air. No,
you
I
tell it
wouldn't.
to every comedian that came in.
No, I would not.
You tell all my
I promise
secrets to
I won't.
everybody.
I promise I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
you wouldn't tell it.
I promise I
brought
won't.
up anytime I say the
Fairvilla,
word
we're
sound.
not-
The only reason-
anytime a Rod comes up,
The only reason I say
Roddy White, it's like Roddy White's celebrity boxing. You're like, oh,
Roddy White, this guy put a rod in his white weenie. That's what I was saying.
Well, I know you. I can't trust you with nothing. I can't tell you nothing. Imagine if I hear.
we so want that Photoshop poster, by the
Keep
way.
my say I die with that.
I'm gonna start calling you Roddy White.
We're going to put his Photoshop picture right next to yours with Bill Murphy and the dildos. That's happening.
The chat
I've
room.
never even heard of
The
this.
chat room is sort of making fun of Tom, and they don't understand. Like, he doesn't understand that a lot of those people have been listening to you for like 20 years. And Riki in the chat room says that you've been talking about putting wigs of your wife for over 20 years.
I know I have. I've
you
never
do
done
it?
it one
Do you?
time.
And you've never done
No,
it?
no, I'll die without doing it.
So I think
Oh
we found
no,
the
like
thing.
the old cowboy.
No, we found the thing. No, your
No,
last
I-
breath. You're going to take your cowboy hat
No,
off?
because-
She didn't put her
no,
foot on
she's not going to be it. And then I'm going to put the way I'm like, still looks the same.
You smell the same.
I can tell it's you.
Feels exactly the same. Oh, your wig fell off.
Also, what am I saying while doing this?
Wait a minute. Give me the wig. Let me put the wig on.
What a different person.
Oh, that's a whole nother show.
Sometimes I put a wig on to pleasure myself.
Gonna put a
right.
bunch of self-tanning lotion on you, like a lot.
Yeah. That's
Because
called, that's
now
called
we're
the soul man.
now we're getting somewhere. Like, how much can we change you?
Yeah. I asked my wife, how much
wig's
can you-
not gonna change that much.
I asked my wife, how much can you sound like Sammy Davis Jr.? A Jewish man. A lot of people don't know that. A Jewish man.
I think we've done more harm. than
Yeah. I
good.
think we got to get out of here. Let's plug some stuff.
Yeah. So if you want to go to Fairvilla Megastore and walk around and find whatever you want, there is no shame. And
Absolutely not.
professionals, they can walk around with you, which is rare nowadays because I feel like this is the time where if you're gonna buy a sexual wellness product, you should buy it at a store and not just online looking at random bot reviews that are all fake anyway.
they're not
And
real.
And you're like, where am I buying from this? It's like every vendor that sells anything in Fairvilla has been vetted by Fairvilla.
Absolutely.
And has had relationships with Fairvilla for most likely over 20 years.
Yeah, what's weird is, and I like calling you Mighty Mouse. I hope that's appropriate. I think she could get most of these vendors on the phone, the
Yeah.
day of. And if you
Yeah.
had a question or something like that, they've been doing this for
Yeah, we're tied in.
an extremely long time.
53 years.
53 years.
That's
I always
crazy.
say 50. I'm going to start saying 53.
Well,
Way
I
more
tell you what,
impressive.
it was 50 as Fairvilla, and then Bill was 3 years before that as the cinema. So
Yep.
that's where we get the
I love it. Yeah. I mean,
I
all
like
of it
deep
counts.
pockets of history.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And also, another thing I want to remind you guys, or ask you guys rather, is if you did want a personal shop, is there a specific way that you prefer? Should you call first and say, like, hey, I've got something to shop for, or can you just swing by?
You could just swing by.
See?
If you want to call, you can.
Yeah.
But we're always
Yep.
ready to shop with you.
Absolutely.
crazy.
But we
Yeah.
do have a personal concierge service where, and this happens to me when I'm out in the community a lot and I meet like women who are scared to go in the store.
Yep.
They need something, right? So I will literally, we have a great relationship. All of our store managers, they can call, make an appointment and literally say, I have so-and-so coming in at 6 o'clock. Can you be the one?
Because some people want that.
Yeah,
I guess,
absolutely. And
like-
can you be the one to receive her when she walks in? Because that level of comfort where somebody grabs you from the moment you enter the door and walks you through the whole thing.
It
But we've
helps.
also had
Yeah.
people that, hey, I will have your bag ready and I will walk it out to you so you don't even have to. So
you guys were doing that during COVID. I remember
whatever
that.
we got to
Yeah.
do to make sure that people are safe, comfortable, and having a good time.
Yep.
Lots of locations. Go to fairvilla.com for all of them, guys. We
Yeah, that
appreciate
was
you
awesome,
coming
guys.
in.
Thanks so much.
Always fun. Thank you.
And we will be right back. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Let's do an email.
All right. This one's kind of funny because I have a weird answer for this one. Dan and Tom, when was the last time you carried someone on your shoulders? I never have.
You've never carried someone on your shoulder?
Look at me, Tom.
Well, your daughter. Yeah, I mean, there's.
I have
when she was
never
younger,
no.
Even now, you've never.
When
put her
my
on her
daughter
shoulder?
was young, I never put her on my shoulders.
Like she sat on
No.
the really?
No. She crawled all over me. We've wrestled. We've kicked
Yeah.
each other. We'll
Just at like an event or something?
No.
Like, you know.
No. Because it really doesn't do much than just make her the height of Andrea.
Yeah.
So I put her on Andrea's shoulders every single time I've done. Honestly, I'm just being honest with you guys. It doesn't affect me one way. I don't care. But I have put her on Andrea's shoulders. I'm not going to put her on my shoulders because then she's just like, what, an inch shorter than my wife. That doesn't really help her at Disney World when she's trying to watch the, the not so scary Halloween parade or whatever it is.
What about the good old fashioned chicken fight?
I used to love chicken fights. I knew you were going to bring that up, and that's why we are in business together. Chicken fights in the pool made me horny.
Yeah.
Because it was always the girls on boys' shoulders. Number one, that makes me horny. Number two, they kick each other's tops off.
Yeah. I've had, a couple different girls, including my wife, on my shoulders before.
You got to have a, what they
a
call
90s chicken fight.
You know what you call that? Beaver neck.
know?
Moving on. When was, ever put your girlfriend or child on your shoulders at a parade or music event? That's what he asked. Now, if you excuse me, I got to go do some music fest exercises. I don't know what that means. Music fest exercises.
I've walked with my sons on my shoulders when they were younger. Well, like if we're at like a theme park or we're like hiking in Colorado or any place where they got tired and they were like younger. Like now, obviously, in the past few years, I was just like, you're walking. I'm not carrying you like a baby. But when they were closer to babies, I would carry them on my shoulders, and it would become excruciating. After, like, let's say an hour of hiking or whatever, like having even a toddler on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Like they
go limp. They go dead weight.
Your neck.
They need to hold on and take a little bit of the brunt.
Yeah, even at 30 pounds, like after a certain amount of time, like but I remember like being so miserable, but never wanting to say I can't hold you anymore because I didn't want them to have the memory of their dad being weak.
Okay,
And,
that makes you
like,
crazy. Yeah.
Like I didn't want them to ever remember like my dad could only carry me for an hour, and then
But they would only
again.
remember that if that mattered to them.
Yeah, right, yeah. But it mattered to me,
Right.
even thinking that they couldn't remember.
I don't think it
so I
matters
just,
to them. Like I've seen you compete.
drilled through it.
I've seen you do some pretty impressive feats of strength the last couple of years, and I don't think your boys care about it.
I have indoctrinated them into thinking that I am strong and buff
Okay.
now, and that I only like hard work.
Okay. And
And-
how does that help them?
No, just for me,
Okay.
my legacy. that's how they'll remember me growing up. And then if I ever die,
Now,
like
when
he
the-
liked work.
Now, when those of us that have known you longer say that was just the last couple of years, what is that going to do to them? We're like, oh, the other
They
40.
won't believe it.
Other 40, he was just lazy. He's a sun-kissed.
I also told them one day other people will lie to you about that I used to be weak, but don't let. That's what they'll say.
All right. You've covered all your bases. I got to hand it to you.
yeah.
I like that. You've covered all your bases. Tom and Dan and Show. Have you ever known anyone that has zero fashion sense? Have you ever tried to help them? Why are tube socks fashionable?
I have zero fashion sense. Like I never
Zero? I don't think you have zero.
Well, I can mimic what's, I'm not going to just like, I put on this tutu. Like,
Yeah, but you would do that anyway. You know that, but you know that that's
No,
not
that's what
good.
I'm saying. Like, there's pants, there's like men's pants and like
Great.
a
You get
shirt.
step one, pants.
Yeah, it's like,
What's step two? Give me step two.
But I don't know colors. Like, I'll put.
You can't say that anymore. How many times do I have to say
But
that?
I don't know what colors go together. Like, I'll put shorts on in like a t-shirt.
Like if you have on.
I have like I shouldn't wear a beige shirt and beige shorts. It looks weird.
Correct.
Like the same color. It looks. I know, but
Like
sometimes
if your belt is brown, what color are your shoes?
brown. I
There
know.
you
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not.
Okay.
I'm trying to prove the point that you're not zero.
Yeah. I know the kind of the basics, but I'll come out of my room and Crystal's like, "You're wearing that," and I will see nothing wrong with it. And I feel like most people wouldn't be like, "Oh, this guy," it would just be like,
is she being?
there's-
What'd you do that pissed her off? Maybe
She's-
she's just being mean to you. Or
she'll
something.
say that doesn't go to, especially at events. Like if we have
Yeah.
an event or we have to be on stage, she'll tell me like this doesn't go together, and
What
I'll
are
have
you
no
trying
idea.
to do? What are you walking? I'd have to see what some of these concoctions are of your
It's not even
outfit.
the matter. It's not like I'm wearing just like a button-down shirt and
And she
jeans.
just doesn't like it.
And no, she's like these colors.
Are you
don't,
sure she's not just doing the new manager where she's got to change something just to power you, to
that's
feel like
what-
she's got power over you?
I think so
Okay.
because I'm like, I don't see any problem with this, and she's like, you look foolish. It doesn't look
What,
good.
do you have a jester hat
no,
on?
no, that's the thing.
and,
It's just like it's
some Yeezys,
it just looks
parachute pants.
No, I'm telling you, it's just a button-down dad shirt and jeans, but
I
the
don't
colors.
know. Maybe she's trying to gaslight you, bully you a little bit. I'm trying to think.
You got good fashion sense.
I
You've always
do,
had it.
but I don't execute it at all anymore. I'm very lazy now that I've gotten older.
Yeah, but if you were going to dress up and specifically for something, you know what looks good together. You have an artist eye.
But I don't buy clothing
you
anymore.
know what looks good.
I'm lazy now. The hermitness of my life has taken control of me since, like, even before the pandemic. It started before the pandemic with me, hermiting. And
We always used to say
yeah.
you'll one time be
A hermit, yeah.
a old man that never leaves his
yeah,
house.
yeah, you're right. And
like the Sandlot.
But I need to be able to get out. I need to go back to my fashionable ways. I need to buy more fashionable clothing. I need to update some of my shorts and some of my pants. I need to go through all of my drawers and throw out all my. I'm just being honest. All my underwear is old with holes all in it. Maisie makes fun of it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My priorities have shifted to more Maisie. I don't really care about my fashion. If I have a choice between me ordering some new pants for myself, I'd rather get her something or get her some skincare or I don't know.
but you got the money to order pants that you're not
I just
destitute.
forget about it. I know. You're not wrong.
Well, also,
I don't seem to care as much anymore, and it's a natural disconnect. It's not I like fashion. Like when you came to the Monsters and we started working together, I would buy all kinds of I would go on shopping sprees with Andrea, and we'd go out and we'd like specifically go to nice places, and I'd shop for nice clothes. I don't do any of that anymore. None of it.
Well,
None of it.
If you never leave the Shire,
Can't leave it.
you don't wax your feet.
I'll never wax my feet.
You know, I'm just saying.
I knew what you were saying. I knew exactly what you were saying.
I'm just saying, like, there's no reason for you to buy new clothes if you're, the hermit.
Okay, this is an interesting one. It's a little bit long, but I think it's super interesting. Hey, Dan, you were saying recently that you wished you had a female longtime listener. Hi, that's me. I've been listening since you were on the Drew Garabo show when I was a teenager. I'm 44 now. Sorry that I'm not the hot young 20-something chick that you were hoping for. I will say that it has been a consistent listen. We used to spend summers in Orlando when I was in high school, and that's when I started listening to 104.1 in the car with my parents. I can clearly remember a Drew show when we were all laughing over a prank call that I think was Drew calling a restaurant as a guy with a tracheotomy tube. Yeah, Drew and I used to do trach calls where when the way you do it, I can do it with this microphone. It's very insensitive to people that have a tracheotomy or I don't know, after they do those truth commercials.
How'd you get beyond you're supposed to let them know they're on the radio?
We didn't care.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that turns out
that's when
it doesn't matter. No one's ever.
when my I don't care started, really.
Yeah.
We would, I think I could say this.
But
now.
management of the radio station, they didn't tell you like, hey, you can't just have random people on the radio live and not tell them.
It's interesting we're talking about this because
No
I don't
one
think I've
listened.
ever told this story. We would do prank phone calls, and the rule is, I believe the official FCC rule from the government is that, at least in Florida, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but when you have
In Florida,
it's a one or two party.
two party.
Is it a two-party?
Has to know. There are other states, only one party
Yeah.
needs to know that you're being recorded.
And I think there's one state that's nobody cares.
No,
I think there's
I-
one state where it's just like a zero party.
I think recording someone without anybody know, like you need a police, like a judge, a subpoena.
That's called the
or
LBJ. That's
yeah,
the Lyndon
a
Johnson.
warrant. You need a warrant to do that. Like only police can do it. I don't think.
Yeah, we're two-party in Florida, the chat room
Yeah.
said. So we would call how we thought we were getting around it. And I don't believe that this is true, but at least in radio, you do a lot of things and you pretend like we're just like politicians. We pretend like we're solving the problem.
yeah,
But
it's
all
not
we're
that-
doing is executing something to make you think we're doing something, but we're really doing nothing to do. Okay, we're doing nothing. We're politicians.
Yeah.
So Drew and I would call. This is the infancy of the internet. I would download phone books because like you didn't have like you couldn't just rapid fire search people. Like it wasn't that easy. It was easy, but not as easy as it is now.
Yeah.
And I would download phone books, and then I would find like Chinese restaurants. I would find like shopping malls. I would find like places for us to call in other states. So we'd call other states thinking, well, if we're calling San Antonio to do a Chinese restaurant prank phone call, or
there's no way
that San Antonio restaurant is going to
ever know
that it was
Florida.
ever broadcast on a Florida talk radio station.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are so few talk radio stations. Like they're just going to assume this is me. I'm telling you really how we thought about it. I kind of thought my rationale of it was, well, they're just going to think it's kids making prank phone calls from another state. It's not even going to matter. Plus, we're doing a tracheotomy call. We'd do this. Let me see if I can pop this off. I would take the microphone, and you would put it right on your neck like this. The person called, they go, hello, and you'd be like, hello, and you would do like that. You'd do like you have a tracheotomy. And I think we got the idea from South Park because it was all starting at that time, right? Like it was all like it was just like dumb, vulgar humor. And we would call places with a tracheotomy, and then we would explain to the person that we had a tracheotomy, and then just see how long we could keep them on the line. And this is radio, folks.
It was the late 90s, the height of prank calls, too.
It was. She continues. She goes, then I went to Flagler College, and I would listen to 104.1 when I was in Orlando for the summers. I believe it was Monsters of the Midday then, but I think you were still on with Drew Show at night. I feel like I listened when I was driving home from working the dinner shift at a Disney Resort hotel. After college, I was in Jacksonville and then lived in Tennessee for a bit, and that was my real radio Dan dry spell. My husband and I moved to Orlando in 2011, and pretty much the first thing I did was tune in the car to 104.1. Love Jim Phillips and his crew. The Monsters are okay, but I think that was the first time I realized that you were on the Monsters, and it was good to hear you again. We eventually bought a house in Audubon Park and loved living in that area, though be careful if you try to bike through Baldwin Park. Those a-holes will honk and try to run you off the road. That's true. We moved to Dallas around 2019 and have been here ever since. I love listening to Tom and Dan now because there's so much I miss about Orlando and the neighborhood that we used to live in. It was super nostalgic for me to hear you guys talking about all of that. Anyway, just wanted to chime in as one of your female listeners that grew up listening to you. Thank you so much for the hard work you guys do, Bethany. Thank you, Bethany. That's very kind of you.
That is a thing that we have seen in our listenership that it totally makes sense because I'm kind of like this. Where if you started listening to us when you are around, like let's say in your dad's car or your parents' car, or your mom's car, or whatever, and
that kind of makes me a Willie Nelson of Central Florida Talk Radio, right? That's kind of cool when you think about it like that.
That's how I started listening to Howard Stern. My mom listened to Howard Stern, and I just listened because she listened. So when we were in the car on the way to school, she would listen to Howard Stern, and that kind of got me into talk radio.
Yeah,
so
same here.
Yeah, so I preferred talk radio over music.
100%.
And
my dad loved Stern. My dad loved Ron and Ron, but he was mainly a Real Radio guy. The reason I had the internship at Real Radio is my dad.
And so we have a lot of listeners that grew up listening that way and then now listen for some weird nostalgia too. Like that is encompassing into why they listen, where they're just drawn to it because it takes them back to a comfort level of when they were younger. It's a weird thing. And I was like, and those are the best listeners, I feel, because it's beyond what we even do. Like, we don't even have to be funny. We just listen to us because our voices are somehow nostalgic to them and they makes them comfortable.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
They stopped listening a long time ago.
Let's go with this one right here. Dan and Tom, a few nights ago, I took some toasted garlic bread out of the oven on a baking sheet one-handed. My grip was flimsy, and the baking sheet tilted into my elbow joint and left an isosceles triangle burn mark. I do currently still have the burn mark. What is it shaped like?
Or they're trying to give us some sort of test?
I don't know.
Isosceles?
What I will say is, I don't know, you try to do some math tests. I'm not a nerd.
Everything's a triangle.
Here's, that's what I say. Hey, it's all triangle. It's all pink in the middle. That's what I say. You know, one thing that still bothers me, and I want to know the remedy to this because it is a pet peeve of mine, and I think a lot of people have this pet peeve, and I know why it happens, but I want to know how to stop it. When I lay tater tots out on a pan, and then I put the pan in the oven, and after it's preheated, I don't like it when the pan will then, and it'll like the temperature change will force it to like bend, and then all my tater tots, the perfect order I had my tater tots in, they all go in all different directions, and then some of them clump up, and I don't like that. I keep all of my tater tots with a perfect amount of air around them so they crisp, because if you don't have a perfect amount of air around each tot, they will not crisp.
Well, you got an old tray that's already been compromised, like the
I told you I'm not spending money. It's cheapo in my house. Maybe that's why I don't buy any clothes or any old pants.
like the implosion sub.
I think the chat room's right. I need a stronger baking sheet.
Yeah.
It's those cheap ass baking sheets. You
got some Temu baking sheet.
Well, what do you think my wife bought? You know, my wife bought a spatula for pancakes. What do you think she spent on the spatula? And she was super proud of this. I love sharing these stories with you. My wife bought it.
Know what it cost.
We've been searching for the perfect spatula in the Dennis household because my wife makes Maddie Matheson pancakes. I've talked about these on the show before.
All right.
If you want the recipe, you can Google it, but it's the best pancake recipe on the internet. They're fantastic. The key is to whip your egg whites like meringue, and that's how you make the best pancakes. Truly.
Okay.
And so my wife's been looking for a spatula for these pancakes because Maisie loves them. She had this blue spatula that she loved, and we had it for years. And then one day it snapped. And that, you know, we all have that one utensil that you love, and then something happens to it and you can never find another one. So we've been searching for one. We found one that looks identical, and we got it at Walmart. What do you think? My wife, she went dancing down the aisle. She was so happy. What do you think she spent for the spatula?
I have literally no idea what a spatula
Take a
costs.
guess. Take a guess and make it gross.
I don't. It's, $3.
79 cents.
Okay, all right.
70. It's disgusting to buy. She's now cooking pancakes with a spatula that costs less than $1. Can't be good. It's got all the cancer inside of it, right? All the cancer.
Oh, the cancer. Every spatch is getting
Chat room gets
on it.
$3.99 too. No, 79 cents.
Going back to recording someone without their knowledge.
Yes.
Who would you even... Okay, say a radio station we call you, right? Okay, we actually do this. We call you, we get you on the line, we're airing it, we're recording it, and then we do our prank call, tracheotomy.
You are a pedophile.
and then we hang up, we put that on the terrestrial radio and our podcast.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get your permission, we just put it on there.
We just put it on there.
And
we'd have this question for Mo.
Yeah. And then what's their recourse?
Okay, so I believe that they would have to get a copy of the infraction of them recording you without it, and then they would take that recording.
I don't think it's an FCC violation. It's a Florida. It's a law.
You'd want to have a. Well, then I guess you'd
proof of it.
You'd go to the cops and say I was recorded without my knowledge.
But
and they're going to laugh in your face.
I don't think that, they're going to be like, I think then you can only like personally sue them, but there has to be damages. So if you didn't like, I guess, say anything bad about them personally, or like, how would they ever, if you never even said their name and it was just their voice, how could they ever prove that it at all caused any damages to their own life?
I think it is illegal.
Like
but
defamation.
There's no way they can enforce it.
Yeah,
that's what it is, right?
Right?
It's kind of what it is.
So then it's a nothing. It has to be nothing. Unless it, I think this is for the law is for bigger. It's actually for like police officers, so that to keep people's rights. It should have
been for Mel Gibson, right? Like that's who it should have been for, because when she was recording him, all those secret recordings of him.
Yeah. Well, that's you could say that defamed me and caused lots of damages, like to my career.
Yeah, but
what
was the argument there? Was the argument there? Well, this is the real you, so that we're not.
Yeah, but still, I didn't know I was being recorded. So, and I think that was done in only one person.
I think it was
I think California. They had to go to Nevada to film Crank Anchors. I remember hearing Corolla. The Crank Anchors production had to actually do it in Nevada because Nevada is only a one-person recording.
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT about that.
Even though I've never heard of anybody getting like criminally prosecuted for recording someone or even being sued. I think it's to protect you from the cops. Like if the cops can't record you without your knowledge and then use it against you in a court case.
But I think they do.
Well, no, they can't because that's illegal.
No, but I still believe that they do, right? Like I think everybody believes that.
Well, then if you played the recording to the jury, your lawyer would be like, the client wasn't aware he was being recorded, so this can't be admissible to court. I think it's more of that thing, like to protect the person in court case.
There are exceptions that can allow such recordings in court, especially in cases involving domestic violence.
Oh, yeah. See, the wife that's getting beaten up and then
They were made secretly. California law, that's not allowed unless both parties consent. Courts may allow such recordings if used to document domestic violence or threats.
So it's only for use in a courtroom for evidence of something.
But we got it. It's awesome. So go Google Mel Gibson.
But it's funny how much we're telling everybody, like, oh, you can't record someone without their knowledge when it never mattered.
But we have a lot of laws like that. And if you go around yelling all of them, then it's just going to be wild out there. You see what I'm saying? Like a lot of the glue that holds this together is the idea that these laws that they will do nothing about. Yeah. They will. A lot of it is imaginary glue holding it all together. It is.
I want to bring up the imaginary glue. Also, I was going to talk to Jimmy about this today. There was a time.
Oh, yeah, he forgot to come in.
There was a time.
Forgot about that.
Where people were nervous about having cash poker games at their house.
Jimmy was.
Even telling it, like broadcasting on the radio.
Or what about talking about smoking weed on the radio or doing drugs on the radio?
Yeah. But weed was a bigger deal back in the day. You know,
it was, but I got to tell you, man, I never thought that going on the radio and saying, like, I was just downstairs smoking weed, that then somebody was going to, like, drive up and gun you down or, like, you know what I mean? I never thought that.
The only instance where cops were ever involved in the radio was the News Junkie and the Piranhas, right?
I don't like to talk about that.
That we're not supposed to talk about. Also, I think
there's a bunch of other ones that I know, but I can't say any of them. There's one on the tip of my tongue, but you told me at the beginning.
You can say anything.
No, you don't want me to say this one.
I'm not beholden to anybody.
I'm pretty sure there was a higher up that we worked with that at a venue here in town during a parking deal, they found marijuana. And this person was, I'll tell you off the air. Yeah. I'm making myself uncomfortable.
Who found the marijuana? The
security.
Okay.
Yeah, security at the time. And it was not who you thought. It's not who you think. It wasn't one of the DJs. It was
no one cares.
It was a person at the time they did.
Yeah, but at the different time. I understand that.
Yeah, it was a different time.
But the poker thing, the cash game, like having a cash poker game, like no one ever got the cops kicked down the door for
not that one because it wasn't big money. You're not doing $100,000 in poker game. You're doing
like big like people doing poker rooms illegal and like running.
Oh, we just had that one recently.
An insane amount of money.
That cop is
gambling
still in jail.
ring.
That cop's still in jail.
But they're doing $100,000 a week in gambling.
They were doing $1 million. They did $11 million.
Yeah. I mean that becomes into tax fraud and stuff like
that. That cop supposedly he almost like $900,000 he was getting on the take.
You're having a home dad poker game with money, nobody cares at all.
There's $70 in the room.
I mean, even if there was 500 or 1,000, no one cares. You know what I'm saying? Like it's zero. But people were afraid to the point where they're like, let's use pennies, but no, they're dollars. People used to actually be worried that cops were going to be involved. Anyway, all right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time.
Welcome back to a Corporate Time. How about a voicemail?
All right.
I think we have time for one or two. Let's see what we got here. Let's go with this one right. I'm going to go with this one.
So I saw all the drama on the BDM Facebook page about TJ Miller, and just now I'm listening to the interview. I don't understand what the controversy is about. It was a great interview. Coolest? Who cares what allegedly happened 25 years ago? It's certainly not your job to police that stuff, guys. Great job, great interview. TJ seems awesome. You guys are fucking awesome. Gary and his
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I like when Daniel starts trying to write down times, and you're like, "Oh, this whole thing."
Yeah.
This whole thing is ruined.
I'll handle it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll handle it all.
And to answer your question, is some people do care.
Yeah.
That's what the society we live in.
yeah. I mean, some
And
people do.
Yeah. If you ask me, I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
And people think that's weird. So, so there's a spectrum of caring.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna fall onto it,
And we try to be available for a bit of it,
Yeah.
and if you didn't like it, we'll listen to you. And if you loved it, we'll listen to you. And that's just the way it goes.
lots of people care about things that other people don't care about, and finding that balance is difficult.
Yeah.
When you're
And,
trying to please thousands of people.
And we'll never hit it.
No one
because
can-
it's an
no one
impossible
can.
it's an impossible get. So
Yeah.
you try your best and then get up the next day.
So I also, and this is a whole thing for like a couple weeks. This is like a month ago. There was like a couple controversy with guests or whatever people cared
Oh,
about.
it's
like
T.J.
something-
Miller and Ted Nugent.
Yeah, about like things they said or what they've done in the past or whatever. And a lot of people are like, and the overwhelming majority of people are like, why did you even reference them, or why did you even talk? Who cares what they think? This, like this is ridiculous. Blah blah. Now, I just find it interesting to talk about it because it is true.
It's part of
and
our
people think like
reality,
it.
yeah.
So like why we talked about it is just content of like, hey, this happened. Isn't this interesting?
Yeah,
Not really.
We're
yeah.
not trying to fan flames either. Like it's not.
And
neither is right or wrong. I mean, look, we're gonna do the show how we do the show.
And also they're not wrong by caring about it.
No.
And they matter just as much as any other listener, And so like we want to take their feelings into consideration, and
Sure.
we're not out here we're not a controversial show. We're not a show that wants to stir up drama or have some sort of message or fight or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
kind of just
I
make
mean,
it
I've
laugh.
always kind of looked at it, and maybe this is like dismissive or hurtful towards us, but I've always kind of looked at us like a dessert show. Like we're trying to have a good time and make you laugh, and not really get you, trying to make you forget about some of the things that are out there that are not good. I don't know.
But we like talking to a variety, wide range of people, and some people like they are going to be polarizing in some aspect, And then it's like people are like, I didn't like this, or like, why'd you support this?
What's funny is when this happens, sometimes I sit back and I wonder if we're like because to some degree there's got to be some person that has listened to some of us, or like maybe something we've said uncensored and been like, well, we're like they've heard us and they're like, well, I don't like them.
Of course,
like we're polarizing.
Yeah,
Like we have to be.
Yeah. No, there's lots of people that don't like it.
I mean, there's varying degrees of everything.
But that's something. Everything's subjective.
Yeah.
So and it seems way less now because there's so much that it's kind of a bummer that there used to be a time where you can talk to a more diverse audience with a more array of opinions.
Oh yeah.
Because,
digital villages. Yeah, everybody's in their own little digital.
And so it
I see what you're
doesn't.
saying.
Like I used to.
Yeah, we used to get so many randoms, like when we just did daily calls, like on a morning show radio. The slice of America that you got, or like slice of, let's say, Central Florida, you would get one of it, almost everybody, and you don't get that as much anymore.
When I was on terrestrial radio, I remember even making an atheist joke or a joke about God or whatever. You used to elicit a response. Where sometimes I get emails, and I remember this one person that I used to.
He's no longer with us. I know exactly who you're talking about.
I didn't really fight with him, but I used to just not even argue.
No.
But it was like back and forth about Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
I just found it funny that
I remember this.
that you like wholeheartedly believed in Noah's Ark and everything, like every detail, like every animal.
There's that guy that built the museum too. Like that guy's crazier about it than even the guy you were fighting with online.
Yeah.
That guy built a fake ark in the middle of, where is it? Is it in Tennessee? I think it's in Tennessee.
Yeah. And the notion behind getting marching every 2 by 2 every animal onto an ark and then riding
the song is
flood.
dope. It's in Kentucky.
And Noah's 400 years old and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like I get like there's sort of comic relief in the fact that
don't forget the dove. He brought back the olive branch. They knew they were close to land.
An adult believes this,
Yeah.
especially when I was in my 20s and I'm talking to like a 60-year-old man, so I I
he's
find
pretty
that
old.
even more funny.
He was pretty old at that time.
And then, talking about like Noah's Ark, and then like me.
How long did you guys
It was like
years, right? Like you guys would email back and forth.
Yeah, and then I'd make jokes on the radio because I knew you'd listen.
Yeah.
Just as
Well, he
get
was a
it
diehard
fired
listener,
up again.
But I didn't think there was. It's funny because
There
you
wasn't
guys,
any hate.
you did that for years. But yeah, again, exactly.
Yeah.
There was zero hate about that. Like you guys had completely differing opinions and would jab back and forth. But at the end of the day, it was like literally just a discussion. It was no more than that.
I remember even when gay marriage was on the slate for being voted to be legal.
Yeah.
And I remember even like talking about how ridiculous it is illegal, and then getting hate, from that stuff, because I used to like that because I'm like, oh, I'm talking to like a wide variety of people that have way different opinions than me, and now it just doesn't exist anymore because everybody's listening to the opinions they want to hear.
They want, yeah.
And because there's such a variety, why would you?
Well, that's also one of the downgrades from on-demand society, right? Like one of the conveniences of that is that you get what you want. One of the inconveniences of that is that you're not going to get the daily opposing opinions that might shape your own opinion or might make you more tolerant to opinions you don't truly understand, right?
Yeah. But it's like me listening to the Noah's Ark podcast. Like I could only take so much. Before
It's really good.
I was like wasting.
They always start with a comedy skit, and that's what I like about it.
I can't even believe that they believe it. I was like, that's what I really want to know. Like, do you really 100% believe 2 mosquitoes, like 2 beetles?
You know how hard it would to keep the mosquitoes?
There's enough different varieties of insects to sit. They're way more than the boat of you worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that was the upper deck. You put the insects on the top.
If you just put 2 of each species of insect on Noah's Ark and sink,
you'd have to put 100 of each insect, because a lot of them are going to die. Maybe 1,000 of
I think
each.
like reptiles, you couldn't even. It would be physically impossible. Then it's like the whole earth flooded. Anyway, there's so many things. How can it be?
Just the elephants is hard for me. Like, honestly, 2 elephants? Where are you put that? And how are you going to control them from stamping? Like, aren't they going to charge the other animals?
So Noah's 400 years old. Let's start from there. 400.
Oh. He looks good for his age, I'll tell you that. All right, we got to get out of here. Or take a break.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.